wait, Ken? Ken?
Hello?
Are you there?
Hello?
Oh,
Maybe?
yeah, hey,
Hello? Am I back?
hey,
Hey!
Ken. Yay, Ken's back. I'm so happy.
I'm
Welcome.
happy.
Welcome back.
She
Hey,
made
wait,
it-
it's episode 126. We're Murder Moose podcast, part of Slashcast podcast network. It's in the game.
It's in the game. Ken survived her adventures to Florida and has
Somehow.
returned.
Adventures in
Somehow.
babysitting.
Well, I mean,
Florida
now
man didn't get me.
like Tennessee's trying to blow up with like nuclear fallouts and shit like that, and like this is end time shit. Man. It's you watch the news and it looks like there's like a giant. I mean, and I understand it's the news. The news, like, you know, where they put shit on everything. It's like they focus on the negative, but holy fuck balls.
I was talking to HT about it the other day, and I was like, I know that I have like a responsibility because I have a platform, and I use that very loosely. But I was like, I don't want to hear anything about the election. Like, I'm already feeling nauseous and going to freak the fuck out about. I don't want to know. Like, I know that it'll be my patriotic duty, and how is it going to change stuff? But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to know.
Yeah. It's in America, at least, it's like that thing where it's like you feel like you're like punching a dead horse. Like it's not like the horse is dead, and it's like oh, let's do this, and because it's what you're supposed to do, but it's like, what am I doing? What is it helping? And it doesn't feel like it's helping. And it's like you keep getting these crazier and crazier people running office, and you're just like, man. That's why, like, this is the same thing. I stay away from the crazy, like, Twitch streamer, like the streamer Twitter, because it's one of the most cringe places on earth. And so I just go, yeah, no, avoiding that. I generally, you know, for how much I know I complain about shit sometimes, just sometimes. But I try to avoid the super bad drama.
I don't know what that was, but sometimes.
That was a moose. That's what you called a moose.
Yes!
Moose juice.
Yes! He said it! He fucking said it!
You said it's a moose, so I just claimed you said it's a moose.
You said it.
No, so now I have this thing where I find moose videos on Instagram and send them to Josh, and then
every day, at least one or two.
No,
there's
not
a moose
day.
in my inbox, and what I'm saying is I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because anytime I get a message from anyone else, people think I like cats, I guess. Like, I don't hate cats. I don't hate cats. But my girlfriend loves cats and keeps sending me these funny cat videos. So now my feed is just nothing but funny cat videos all the time. So I just keep sending cat videos.
It's actually crazy how Instagram's like algorithm works, where like you like a video and then it's like you get 800. So my Instagram feed is instantly like constantly a feed of like French bulldogs, and then there's things like Great Danes will pop in and out of my thing. I'll get like cryptid videos, which are mostly just like, you know, I like the scary Instagram videos because they're usually just like, you're like, oh, this is the fakest shit I've ever seen, but it could be entertaining. And then now I've started seeing UFO videos. Like, there are UFO videos all over Instagram now too. And so yeah, I'm just like,
I get really wild shit. I get a lot of like beautiful Gothic home architecture.
yeah.
And like cats and like random stuff. And then lately, because I made a mistake and I looked up something that I saw on TikTok, which was a thing to help with like strengthening your pelvic floor. And
shit.
You know, it's a thing that you insert into your vagina, and then as you do your Kegels with it, or whatever, Kegels, however, I can't pronounce, judge me. It links up to your phone, and you can play video games against someone with it. So you can play Pong, you can play all these different games. I looked it up, and now my Instagram feed is constantly like, would you like this? Look at this. Look at this. You can put it in your vagina and play video games with it. Don't you want this? You need this. And I'm like, I really don't, but like, stop. I'm very susceptible to ads.
I think they're assuming that you bought something that gave your vagina a platform to now play.
I guess.
Yeah, so they're like, hey, she's got the She's got the console for her vagina, so now she can buy this game too.
Now you're gonna get.
I feel so stupid because I just realized you can do that on Twitch. And how would
Ooh.
you'd be like, we're playing Pong today, guys, and then you'd be like,
I
okay, and be like,
That
I
that
will
just
this-
reminds me of
You're like this.
what was that fucking movie?
Hey guys, I'm playing Pong with no hands. I can ride my bike.
Zombie
no
strippers.
handlebars. Zombie strippers. Oh god, that movie I've seen
Nice.
once back in the
Yes.
day.
That was fucking great.
I think
Sorry.
those things are weird because like anything like that where it's like can be controlled by phones. There was like Zoe, one of my community members, was telling me about how, I don't know if you've seen the vibrators that can be like remote controlled by like phones and stuff like that. Well, there's a butt plug that is the same, or a anal inserted thing, and I guess that you can hack it. Some people were hacking them and like locking them so you can't pull them out, insane shit like that.
What?
Which by the way sounds like a horror concept. Like we should.
that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
I know
mean,
that they make the ones that are like
Yeah.
they're like cameras on the end of them,
yeah.
which whatever, but like people were hacking those.
What?
Have you seen the Instagram videos of people like putting the cock cameras on and they're like cock rings with cameras on them and then they swing their dick around? It's just the cameras.
No, I'm sure I will now.
Now you will. Yep. Now you will. Now you will. So yeah.
'Cause I was thinking about trying to learn how to do a handstand one day, and Instagram was like, "Yo, bitch, you want to learn how to do a handstand?" And I was like, "Well, I guess."
Well, now you're gonna get 800 Instagram reels of someone doing handstands, and it's just
With a penis
it's-
camera.
It's weird, man. Like I feel like Instagram's worse than like TikTok and other ones where it picks up like one like, and you're like, you go down
Yeah, and
a rabbit hole.
I don't even use Facebook, so it's
Yeah.
not like I'm pumping stuff through the Facebook algorithm.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure
it's-
that there's cookies and shit from years ago, but
Yeah. I will give this suggestion out there to everyone. If you really want peace in life, turn your notifications off for Facebook just completely so you don't ever get any notifications from Facebooks. And I think I just said Facebooks, but who fucking knows? And then you just never open the app, and then you're like, wow, this is magical. And here we are. Here we are.
I was just having this conversation too. Like Facebook turned into like a fake out. Like it used to be something that was
Just friends, but then
you know what? Not even that. Like if you were using it back in the day to like for an audience or whatever,
yeah.
it was easy to like, grow the audience on there. And now you go to post anything on Facebook and nobody sees it unless you pay, and fuck that shit.
Yeah, and Mr. Elon Musk is like,
setting the
throwing-
precedent across the
Yeah.
board for everything.
yep, because they're gonna have verified Instagram users and all this stuff. That was that might have been the funny part of Sissy, that I like this movie, but calling it a horror comedy was a stretch. There wasn't much comedy in it. Ken and I were talking about that before you got on, Josh. But like, before we dive into that,
I think
is there anything?
it's dark comedy though, and it's like it's
I think,
funny
like,
because
there's-
it's almost not.
I can think of one scene that I would consider to be dark comedy, but I guess we'll get there in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys been watching anything else? I mean, I know Josh has been watching Last of Us, which was another more like, let's kick people in the balls yet again last night. Again, no spoilers. We're not going into it. Another episode that was just like, here's another swift kick to the penis, because every episode of The Last of Us is a swift kick to the penis, because that's
It's
what
so
Last of
well
Us is.
filmed.
Yeah.
I can't praise it enough. It just
Yeah,
is.
it's
It's so
perfect.
fucking good. It seriously is. Like
Yeah.
and to see something and just like aesthetically and like that mall they were in was fucking. Where the fuck was that? Like, was that?
I don't know,
in-
but it looked a lot like they did a really good job of recreating the game. Like
Yeah.
especially the last part of that episode, and you're just like, damn. Yeah.
so good.
So
But the thing I do like about this show, coming off of the tale of Walking Dead, which, like I came up being the first of all my friends to love zombies and zombie movies, and I was obsessed with George A. Romero and just like zombies in general. And then The Walking Dead came and then dragged it out and killed my love for zombies for a long time. But like you get used to, because it was the biggest thing in the world, what the zombies are in The Walking Dead, because they're Greg Nicotero zombies done so well. But I never felt like in the last like 6 seasons or whatever that the zombies were ever a threat whatsoever. And The Last of Us have switched that completely, and like you have to be terrified of one fucking zombie because like they're insane.
It's minimalist too. They don't overuse them like The Walking Dead. They're just like, we're gonna like, because people have been complaining about there's not enough zombies, and it's like, shut up. It's a character piece, not.
If you want more zombies, play the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
or play the zombie
100%.
game with the motorcycle where you have hordes and everything.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
That game supposedly is like, I watched Dr. Claw play, like stream most of it, and he had a blast with it. Like the game is way better than recognition for like
the horde modes are so hard,
dude, and they're just bonkers watching them. They're like bonkers watching all the zombies, and it just like the hundreds on the screen, like.
And then like you get in a cave system at one point, and there's no lights, and you've got hundreds of these fuckers, and like no ammo, and you're like,
man. Sam Worthington's dope, man. Like whenever I see him, like he's done some cool shit. Like, and it's just like from the Star Wars games he did, and then he was in The Mist. He was in like, I mean, he's done a lot. He was Doomsday on Smallville, even though that it was dude. I don't know how Doomsday keeps getting shit on so badly whenever he appears in media, but he does. So it's the show is fantastic. Have you guys been watching anything else? Then I haven't gone through any.
I did finally watch A Knock at the Cabin in the Woods with the. I don't know, man. I can understand why some of the hype was centered, but the amount of like just flawless victory that I heard about this movie is a fucking lie. Like it was. People were like, it was so fucking good. And I'm like, yeah, maybe for like an M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie. But to be honest, I didn't really like it that much. But I also don't like movies that are overly religious. So,
I mean, me and Ken told you we liked it because it was like,
no, I'm not talking about
small and
like,
there was
a lot of my other friends were like, it was fantastic. And I'm like,
I wouldn't say it was fantastic.
I enjoyed the shit out of it. Like I enjoyed, and I enjoyed Ron Weasley. I enjoyed Drax. I enjoyed the little girl.
I love how you call him Drax. He's so hard trying to fucking get away from that
Weasley,
character.
Drax.
Like, what
but for real, he's fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, he's always
Bautista
really,
or whatever his name is.
I really like
Batista,
seeing him as like the
calm,
character that he was.
cool.
Yeah, and like he's like in mid sentence of like, because he is such a force to be. He's just like, oh, I shouldn't be. You are terrified of me, and I know this. Right? And he stops himself and like is super like in the moment. I was like, wow, like and
it's
glasses
minimalist.
soften.
Yeah,
like crazy.
It's minimalist, and it what I said, I think I talked about here. I appreciate when
cinematography.
M. Night Shyamalan,
wow.
Yeah.
I love when he doesn't M. Night Shyamalan ding dong himself. Like when he takes a movie and he's just fucking solid all the way through, solid cinematography, just really good actors doing like this small little thing, and just like
when a movie is so reliant story wise on special effects, and that's what you give us. Eek, though, like the special effects were terrible when it came to the actual
really special effects. Really, I mean.
No, like the planes coming down and stuff. I was like, I've seen better things on Film Riot on YouTube. 100% of the time.
Planes coming down. All I could think of was The Happening. Like I was like, oh, that's The Happening. My whole thing with that is the book is supposed to be so good. That the movie in itself doesn't follow the book, but it's supposed to complement the book.
Okay.
I hear the ending of the book is way darker, which probably means that they don't do anything and the world comes to an end, I assume. Yeah, it's the only thing I like. I haven't read the book. I never said it was great or the best horror movie. I had fun with it, and I was like, oh, this is a well directed. M. Night Shyamalan has the least amount of self-restraint I've ever seen in a director. Like, he has no self-restraint. He has zero self-restraint. So just
I loved The Visit, by the way. Like, The Visit was fucking fantastic.
I've still never seen The Visit. It's one of those movies.
I legitimately loved The Visit.
That's the found footage with the kids and the grandparents are creepy.
But I felt like that movie was him going, shit, I have something to prove now because they have stripped away my budgets. They've stripped away, and like I'm, fuck. What do I do? The Visit was like, okay, he showed restraint. He had less budget, and it fucking killed because it was actually good. This one, I felt like he was kind of in the middle ground again. He got more budget.
He bankrolled that movie by himself too. Like that's another thing. Like he
had something to
put
prove.
a lien on his mortgage on his fucking house. It's like, I don't know, man. I just appreciate a man because every single movie that he's done, besides The Sixth Sense and like things like Split that has these endings, just it's what ruins it for me. I talk about it here all the time. The ending of The Signs is the least logical ending of a film of all time. And then you go like The Village, fucking terrible. And I'm not even gonna get into shit like The Happening, right? Like where like you just has become one of the like most mocked horror films of the last 20 years by far. And like it's just like, how do you shit on Marky Mark and Zoe? You fucking shit on Marky Mark and Zoe, and in the movie it's just like, oh man, come on. Yeah, it's enough of that. But the man is talented, but just like he's like fucking if Quentin Tarantino did what M. Night Shyamalan did, every single one of his movies would have like a 20-minute sequence where there was like a foot massage in it. Like that's basically what would happen.
Yep.
It's the same kind of no like restraint at all. And so it's like, I just happy to see the man had like the tight little package and like just do a fun little movie that I'm like, I enjoyed, and you didn't like. It's so one of my least favorite movies of all time, horror movies of all time, is Jeepers Creepers. Before I knew that the director was a fucking piece of shit, the ending of that movie made me so mad when I was a teenager that like I'm like, I don't remember it. I just remember being angry walking out of the theater and how much I hate it. And the Jeepers Creepers. How'd you get those peepers? And I'm just like, fuck you. And that was before I realized he was a fucking like a child molester. So like, yeah, I hate if you fuck up an ending that badly, I might just hate your movie forever, regardless how much I like the rest of it. It's like the exact opposite of Saw. Saw has a perfect ending. Saw has the best ending
like,
ever.
These are the movies that come out of nowhere type thing. Like I just got put onto this YouTube channel, Raka, and they're like, they were friends from when they were kids, making wrestling videos and stuff, and like action stuff with like their parents' video camera or whatever. Then they kept doing it, stayed friends. Now they're like, the equivalent to what Stampede Wrestling or like, Legion Wrestling, but they go ham, and it's like legit like hardcore matches with like the barbed wire and like just crazy shit. But they are also a pretty successful YouTube channel with like 7 million subscribers almost and stuff, because they do like crazy short films and just over the top fucking blood and whatever. And they made a horror film. They took a break from YouTube for a year and funded and produced their own horror film, and it made it into Sundance Film Festival. Nice. And Ari Aster showed up at the premiere.
Oh,
and
shit.
After the premiere, Jordan Peele called them, Steven Spielberg called them, and they sold their film to A24. So, like, what the fuck? I'm just like, holy shit! Like, this is.
It's the right time for little horror movies, dude. I mean, the last two films we've talked about, The Outwaters and fucking Skin'em Rinky Dinky Doo, like, just were like so much more profit than like what they cost to make, right? And like, Ken, by the way, do you have any statements you want to make about The Outwaters? I like how you felt about that film?
I thoroughly enjoyed the cutting off of the penis scene.
Yeah.
Especially when he like pushed it around with his finger like a worm. That was a good time. I really enjoyed trying to like
Yes.
understand what was going on and then having subtitles on with that movie. Perfect. Because otherwise you have no fucking clue what's going on, right?
Yeah.
You turn subtitles on and at one point it's like axe hits head, blood gushes, and you're all you hear is a thump. And like that's it. And I was like, oh well now I know what was going on.
That was.
I feel like that's a
Skinamarink
cheat
too.
code for that movie.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a cheat code. I mean, like there was something definitely good there towards the end that was happening outside of it actually ending. I'm just kidding. It was a thing. But no, like towards the end, I actually was like, oh okay. But my aunt was like, what are you watching? And I told her, and she was like, what's that? And I was like, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, and I was like, don't watch it with me. And she was like, okay.
Josh and I like we got to the point where like it was like one of those like it was so close and it like they almost stuck the landing and then they just
like it was there and then just
I feel like that's the I hate it that the indie movies and I don't understand this like weirdly hype train thing that you even sent me that fucking thing for Skinamarink.
Yeah, that's why I sent it to you today. Yep.
And I'm just like, no, not at all.
Did you find the like hype video or whatever that everybody was like talking about?
It was this just horror Instagram lady I see videos of occasionally, and she was talking about how it was the scariest movie, and I'm like,
I still don't understand that. Like, and I know that we're talking about something else today, but I still 100% I can grasp where people are like, oh, it relates to childhood, but I don't.
Yep.
I don't.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Yep. You don't get it. And that's what I said about
Neither
Outwaters
do I.
too. I was like,
fuck.
Outwaters was vastly more watchable than Skinamarink. That's what I said last week.
Yes.
It was watchable. It wasn't far off
100%.
in like making sense, but it was.
Yeah,
watchable.
I could sit and watch it. That wasn't a Skinamarink dinky doo. I like cut off. I was like, I can't. This is silly.
Yep. But today we are talking about Australian horror, and we're talking about 2022's Sissy, which was on Shudder. But I'm going to read the synopsis here, and we'll dive in. And it reads: teen best friends Cecilia and Emma run into each other after a decade. Cecilia is invited to Emma's bachelorette weekend, where she gets stuck in a remote cabin with her high school bully and a taste for revenge. So I
and
talked
you know
to
that Emma from the movie wrote and directed it too, right?
No, I didn't know that. That makes sense though.
Emma wrote and directed it with Kane, who I don't know their relation, but yeah.
Kane Sense.
Kane Hodder.
That'd be cool.
No, I was saying to Ken and Josh before we started that this movie reminded me of The Stylist because The Stylist was awkward throughout the entire film. Because like when you go do these horror films with like these completely socially awkward main characters, because like it doesn't happen all that often in horror, right? That you have the main character is also the problem in the film. Like, it also this movie also kind of reminded me of American Psycho in that fact. But like, so I think of like things like American Psycho. I think of Maniac. I think of The Stylist, which we've done on here. But it's that thing where you're like, it seems like a very hard job to give you like make you feel sympathy for this main character when they're doing shit and you're just like, what the fuck? And this movie does, I don't know, man. It's that thing where it's like, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, it's that weird like position they put you in where you're like, are they trying to get me to root for this woman? Are they trying to get me to like, you know?
That's where it's like, for me, like that whole thing is the dark comedy bit of it because but it's also very just
awkward.
Well, not even awkward. Like that's the like whole mental health awareness shit.
Yeah.
That needs to he talked about.
Yeah.
The
Well,
whole scene, like where they're discussing their childhood, where she's talking about how like they were never really friends or whatever, and how she couldn't stand her. That hit so fucking hard. I was like, oof, ouch.
I was sitting there watching this, and I'm like, it. I I feel like they were trying to make a point, but like you have to like. This is another thing: is this movie is Australian? It was made in Australia. It's like the thing where you go, is Australia like still like? I know how America handles mental health, right? Like we're not very good at it, and like this movie almost like it almost makes it like the bullies are the good guys. You know what I mean? The bullies are like the ones who even though they're shitty people, they're like, but they're not killing people kind of thing. Like it's like, yeah, these guys suck, but
It's one of
they're
those
not-
movies where they make every character just a shitty fucking person. So you're like,
Yeah.
you know what? Maybe what? I just hate them all.
yeah, it's like Midsummer like that, right? Where you're like,
Yeah,
by the
for
time
sure.
you're done, you're like whatever. And then like the ending of this movie, you're just like, oh, okay. The character gets away with everything and is like,
I hate that. We've talked about this numerous times. I hate when any movie portrays influencers of any kind. I
Yes.
hate it. They do a terrible, like, I mean, there's already a terrible stigma against influencers, and it just keeps getting worse and worse because you have people that are, doing all this, which it was brought up recently that entertainment and, corporate entertainment companies have been doing the same things for years and nobody stops them. But I hate seeing influencers portrayed the way that they are, because like there's a scene where they're at the table and she's like, oh, well, she's an influencer. And she's like, oh, an influencer. And I'm like, oh, that's why, like, we'll be out somewhere and HT will be introducing me to someone and they'll be like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I work from home. And he's like, just tell them what you do. It's so cool. And I'm like, I don't want people to be like, oh, not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just, it's gotten such a negative stigma. Yeah. So anytime there's a movie with it, immediately I'm like, which this one wasn't bad. I think this one did a really good job of highlighting the shitty side of some, especially when they were discussing the mental health stuff of it. I thought that was great.
I mean, the mental, like her stream and her community and everything is so important to her that it kicks off her murder spree. Like she's about to upload that video, and that bitch, man, like,
Well, come on, that's just fucked anyways.
I know
I
it's
don't think
fucked up.
that kickstarted it. I don't think it's because of the stream necessarily. I can only speak from personal experience that knowing that would not so much end the stream, but that ends you, right?
Yeah, that's
like,
a canceling
you don't,
thing.
That's complete cancel. And then because of the way that society is now, once you've been canceled, finding a job outside of that sphere is so difficult that you kind of have to like, well, so, I mean, that's her life. That's her world. And she's just basically taking a shit on it. So I'm not defending her by any stretch of the imagination.
I don't say like, so that's why she panics, right? That girl's going to fucking stick that video up on her platform. Right. And you go, I understand why she was panicking. It's just that panicking and how she handles it. And I'm sorry, that woman was so dead. So dead. But like, you hit somebody in the head with a fucking like crystal, which they never explained it. And I was wondering if it was like good vibes, like that kind of shit. But like, they were carrying this fucking rock around. You're like, why the fuck are you carrying this rock around? But like, and you go, no, you hit somebody in the fucking head with that thing.
They're dead.
And they're dead. And it's just like, they're obviously they use it for that fucking ending is basically why they let her survive, right? But like, God damn it, Josh and his ADHD over here. I
love it so much. I want it on all of ours, by the way.
Should do it. The whole thing with it, I think they do a really good job of displaying that. Kind of like you look at her and you're like, oh my God, how could somebody be this fucked up? Well, obviously there was a lot, and again, not justifying her behavior whatsoever. You've
Josh is playing with the video, guys. If you're not watching the YouTube, you'll go watch the YouTube and you'll understand.
You've got this girl who has had a horrible experience in childhood, who then also had obviously some other borderline mental health issue that had been living there.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, you've got, her reaction, which is now plaguing her for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
She's always going to have that in the back of her head. So she's trying in her mind to do something to better herself and to better her community and her world by like reaching out and helping people and trying not to let that affect her anymore. And it's just bringing her constantly down.
Yeah. It's, it's funny because you talk about the influencers and the, streamers and everything like that. Right. And we, you kind of had that worry before we watched Deadstream, right? Which kind of it handled that, I think, better than this, but like this still handled it well.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna bring up Deadstream too, like because that one, I don't know, like because that one is more your guys' world, like that's the live stream world, whereas this one is more like the Instagram world, and just like they're completely separate, but not at the same time because you are, using someone else's platform like Instagram or Twitch to have your audience there, and that's where I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. Hey, thumbs up.
No, I've got what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Oh, the thing that I think that like this movie's interesting, like that I really do like, it's another movie that like looks at mental health and how we handle it and how it's sitting there and going, this girl was like fucking bullied so badly as a kid that she has a fucking breakdown and like stabs this girl in the face with a fucking what's that thing called, a garden
a
spade, yeah, and like fucks her up and like she's fucked up for life. But it's like, dude, you had these kids just being evil little cunts to this girl, and like it obviously it left that like, it doesn't seem like she ever got real healing, right? She just kind of like tried to heal, and it was like the girl she stabbed obviously was like the break. It would go back to like, setting off and trying to ruin this woman's life, and you go, you don't like you said.
The special effects in this were pretty fucking good though. Like, for what it is, you can see the like, but like that's where this movie is. That's where they turn up the horror volume up to 11. It's like, hey, you know what? Ooh, close up, smashed head of this.
That was the part that I felt was funny. That was the part I was like, okay, I can see where that would be considered comedy, because the special effects on that were gorgeous. It was so good.
My wife came home from work at that point, and she's like, why did they went into slow shit to roll over her head? Like... But I think that the part I would call comedy was when she pushes the stone gay guy off the cliff. She's just like pushes his crutch. Yeah. And it's just like, they just hear him screaming the whole time. It's like, it's like, there's a lot of that where it's like, I don't know. Horror comedy is such a,
you gotta be careful with that line.
And especially like, with something like this, man, like I think that they probably, I bet they wanted to go harder on the comedy than they did, but like,
go hard
in the paint.
It's in the game.
Go hard in the paint. But yeah, like I don't know. It's that thing.
What's ADD? I don't know.
I have a question.
What's that, Ken?
My question is, do we think having so many movies and different types of content that handle different sides of mental health is actually helping or hurting the current mental health crisis? And with the question being that, yes, we're bringing attention to it, but are we doing something that could harm that?
I think
with that motive.
Anything with to do with like art attached to it, is going to attach itself to what is trending. And especially movies in general are usually a reaction to the surrounding world. If you watch any movie from any decade, it's just a straight reaction to what the politics are, what is trending at the time, or who is the most popular, or what it is. So the fact that there is kind of this more of a magnifying glass on it, it's going to show up more
Yeah.
in movies, regardless if it's helpful or not. It's just a straight reaction to what people are, you know,
Well,
expecting now.
Australia is also a weird place, man. Like, I mean, it's not like weird, like it's just weird for us, right? I think that like a lot of ways, from what I could gather, Australia has a lot of the like tough guy attitude, right? Like we're tough, blah blah blah, right? And so I wouldn't be surprised. Like again, I'm not in Australia. I don't know these things. Where like they might be trying to point out, like that's why I like foreign horror. They point out things wrong in countries. They point out fears with like that different cultures, right? And I just wonder if that's a little thing where it's like, hey, yeah, this is we just kind of this girl stabbed this other girl in the face with a fucking like a shovel, and you're like, yeah, nothing happens, and it's that thing where, hey, look, just I think there's also like that thing here where they're like, it's another message is don't put people on the internet like on pedestals, right? It's the you put people on pedestals and you never know. I mean, which is not a surprise to any of us because we've seen enough people who are like streamers or musicians. I mean, musicians get fucking canceled all the time, right? Like it's a thing where you're like, and I mean, I assume you guys are kind of similar to me with the like where I don't think people should be taken away from having being able to like a livelihood, but it starts being rough when you're like you've done something real shitty, right? Like when you've like hurt people or you've like taken advantage of people or you've like used your position to like do questionable things, right? Like so it's I don't know, man. There's a lot, and I think mental health is such a sensitive subject. It's like not something that's like easy to approach. It's not something that's like because I think that people will often think that like when you're approaching mental health and something like this, that you're making fun of people or you're like mocking them or using them in an exploitation kind of fashion, which this film I don't think is, but it's also like, yeah, like I said, it's strange when you have the killer or the bad person is the like kind of the quote unquote main character, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's there's something to be said though about um I don't know, like the narcissism that is kind of almost like potentially like rampant with like these top people or people that have that type of like influence on a big
Oh, well,
audience.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're giving someone a platform, they're gonna get a big head about it. Like they probably need to get, on occasion, people need to get knocked down a peg or two. I've been knocked down a peg or two a few times, and like I think that it's important, and I think that going back to the whole like highlighting mental health and it being like beneficial or not, I totally agree with you on it being kind of a topical situation.
Mm-hmm.
I really do also like the fact that now when it comes to films and content, they're getting a lot more input from individuals that are suffering from different or dealing with different types of mental health disorders or whatever the case may be, instead of just being like, oh, this is what a schizophrenic person thinks. And you're like, no. And they're like, yeah, that's how it is. You're like, you didn't even consult anybody. So I do feel like maybe
I watched
I'm
a movie
reading too
with Tom
heavily,
Hanks.
But right. Yeah. I watched a movie with Tom Hanks. This is how it works. But I think that maybe they did a really good job of like not being too heavy handed with it, but also doing a good job of like, hey, this is something that is out there and you need to be aware that there are people out there that are self-proclaimed gurus, which you're not supposed to say anymore, I don't think. Sorry, self-proclaimed spiritual healers or, along that line. You need to be careful and mindful of them. And that's why I love, love, love that scene where where they're at the table and they're talking to Emma's wife or whatever. And she's like, they're explaining how, in case you haven't, if you're just listening, you don't know, she's explaining what she does and how she's like, oh, I'm motivational and I help lift people up and I, do this, that, and the other. And they're like, oh, do you have like a degree. You need a degree for that. And she's like, well, no, but I blah, blah, blah. And then it turns out that her friend's fiance is getting her doctorate in psychology. Yeah. And, the girl that's super hateful to her is like, somebody could die and it's on you. Like, shouldn't you be like concerned? Like, they're all basically saying that. And she gets all like frazzled. Yeah. Like, I'm very, very open with like discussing anything that I've had, happen in my past as far as my weight, my mental health, whatever. But I am sure as hell going to follow up with, these are my experiences and during, because I've been talking to multiple people today about gastric, and I was like, these are my experiences. This was what happened at this particular location. It's the same thing with mental health. My experience is not going to be your experience. Period.
But that's where you differ, and you have a care to that attention and that disclaimer, because you do realize that there is an audience in front of you, not just like a conversation with, what we're having. It's two people, close friends. In this type of situation, you don't really have to, or you're out for a beer with a friend. You don't have to talk about disclaimers with it, because you're just back and forth. But when you are put in that position in front of an audience, I feel like it's everyone's responsibility that is in that to be a little more mindful of the type of information that is getting put out. Because
even on one-on-one stuff, I'm very like, if it has to do with anybody that I'm not like on a very strong relationship with, I'm not going to be like, this is how it has to be done. But I will tell you, hey, I experienced this. I have a friend who experienced this. I've heard of people experiencing this. You need to figure out which of these, might work, or if there's another experience that you're going to go down. Talk to your doctor. Talk to this person. Talk to that person.
I mean,
I don't have a degree in it.
I love how you handle it, because you just use it as a personal thing. Like, you're using it as like, this is what happened to me. Like, you're talking about, there's like because people are fucking nuts. You have people come into your stream and go, are you really bipolar? And it's just like,
I love those people.
I'm like, dude.
Or my favorite still, the one guy that came in and told me I wasn't bipolar because I wasn't acting bipolar enough. Another guy came in and told me that I wasn't bipolar. And when I explained that he was, and when I explained that I was, he demanded a list of my medications, which is fine. I don't give a shit, like whatever. But I thought that was hilarious. Yeah. And so I went through like the whole list. Yeah, he was like, tell me your medications you're on. If you're bipolar, what medications are you on? Tell me what medications which I'm fine. I don't care, because I talk about them anyway. Yeah. But I was like, does that make me bipolar enough? Does the high level mood stabilizers that I take in the morning and at night, does that make me bipolar enough? How about the antidepressant or the anti-anxiety medication or the Ritalin? Like, one of these, any of these?
Hey, Paul. I think that's like, that's the thing, man. It's like, and I think they're kind of pointing that out here in like a lot with the main character, that like, people get a platform and then they act like they know everything, like they're experts. Like, that's like kind of that point of that table scene you're like talking about. And it's like the wrong way to do things. I think how you do it, how like Classy Katie does it, like how like a lot of my friends are doing it, just being open with it and just talking about experiences, and but not ever going like, yeah, this this is how you do it, this is how you do it, like you're saying, because that is so in particular for every person. Like, that's the thing that like is so hard for so many people to point out or understand.
Well, and also with like mental health, especially with bipolar disorder, there's bipolar 1 and there's bipolar 2. So those descriptions and those like indicators as to if you're bipolar 1 or 2 have shifted drastically over the years, and they're going to continue to shift. So for some people that maybe they were diagnosed with some type of mental illness or mental disorder or whatever the case may be, whatever she is supposed to be suffering with, it may have transitioned over the years. And for you to be like, this is 100% this is what you need to do, blah, blah, blah. No, there's new research. You need to look and see. Like, I wish that they could have done some more with that, but I loved the way that they portrayed her.
Yeah. It just seems like they also like kind of talk about the character getting lost in the system, right? Like, she wasn't given the attention she needed after obviously having a break. And like, it's like, if you have someone who, because of a mental like breakdown like she had as a 13-year-old, that's like, isn't that the time when a lot of kids start like experiencing like, like if they have schizophrenia or like I mean, it's
I
like
think
young
so,
adult.
I
Yeah.
think with a lot of kids, schizophrenia starts like rearing its head in your late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
And then girls, and again, this is just this going back on what we said, I could be completely wrong on
Yeah.
this, but and then young girls and women typically don't show the same signs that boys
Yeah.
do, so they kind of get lost in the shuffle. But I mean, if you've stabbed someone in the face with a
Yeah.
gardening spade, I don't think you should get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
In the face.
In the face.
Dude, that was a gnarly effect, man. That where
God,
I loved
she gets her. Yeah, it's like, because
But we see it first. Like it does that
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
where, again, like the Midsummer thing, like where she's seeing stuff.
Yeah.
Man, now that you say that, I think there was a lot more borrowed from Midsummer probably in this than we probably even know. Because like she saw the flash of the kid's shovel face,
Yeah.
fuck, when she was looking at the fucking dead kangaroo, and that is just so fucking Australian. They should have just had like shrimp on the Barbie, and they had a fucking dead kangaroo. Like that's just, well, they didn't have shrimp on the Barbie, but I'm just saying they should have.
Yeah.
That's
Dude.
not Australian.
Shrimp on a Barbie. Crikey. I'm just saying Australian things now. I don't know.
We're just being like, what is that, racist? No, that's not-
Foster's. It's Australian for beer.
You call that a
What
knife?
did you sound?
I don't. I sound like a
This
terrible
is a knife.
Scottish. This.
I
That's
say
not
you
a
played
knife.
knifey
This is
spoony before.
Yeah, the kangaroo that like is obviously not a real kangaroo. That like
It's so little.
I do love the callback though, where like she runs that chick over and she's like, "Well, this is the humane thing to do." They had said it earlier. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's foreshadowing.
Yeah,
So
it
good.
is. I mean, that's probably another scene that was kind of like, oh, like you giggle because you're like, oh no, oh
Yeah,
no.
but
And
that's
it's-
like because they don't cut away and the eyes are just like
yeah.
like jelly. I was
It
like,
looked.
whoa.
It looked like the stress balls where the eyeballs pop out.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. It was like it kind of reminded me, like, Josh, we talked about when Terrifier 2, where like none of the like the body parts are all like hollow,
Yeah.
right? Like whereas there's no skull. It's just like gunk
Yeah, they're not
inside
doing
of,
a
like,
Greg Nicotero fucking job
Yeah,
on
they're-
any of
they're-
the stuff in Terrifier. I'll tell you
No,
that.
they're just like, hey, we're gonna fill this sack that kind of looks like a human with like jelly
Goo.
and pig goo, and we're gonna be like, okay, now we're gonna run it over with a truck. It's like, okay,
As
I
long
wonder
as it
also-
explodes and gets red
Yeah.
stuff, like whatever. Most people are
I-
going to be grossed out. Not everyone's going to be like, excuse me,
Yeah.
my name's
No, I'm not-
Rod. You don't have
No,
enough
I'm not-
skull particles in there.
I wasn't making fun of it. I was just going.
No,
I-
I'm
I
making
was just
fun
going-
of you, Rod.
I know. I mean, I
I'm
know you
making
are.
fun of you.
I do think it's funny though, because I think that they were so proud of that fucking sequence. That's why they put it in slow motion. They were like, "Oh my god, this head blowing up is," because there was nothing else in that movie like that. They just went slow motion as the heads go blah. It's like
Because
yeah,
they spent budget on it.
that was
so-
probably a lot of their budget. Also, you talking about her being crazy when the fucking house turns to glitter at the end. Where there's just like glitter, like the house is covered in glitter.
It was foreshadowing with
Well, I
the
know.
Speaking
eyeshadow.
of
It was
glitter-
eyeshadowing.
Yeah, it was eyeshadowing. I saw the other day on TikTok that there are people making custom coffins now that are coated in glitter with beautiful stud work along the edges. They're also bringing out urns. They announced they would be doing urns as well. I'm not joking. This is legitimate.
I will say this, and I've said this before. I don't know if I said this before. Being buried and preserved is the dumbest shit in the world, in my opinion. I fucking hate it. I
oh
hate
my
it.
god.
Hey, I
Yeah.
just realized with my ADD that the lead in this was in a TV series with the lead in Haunt, randomly enough.
Oh, Haunt was a good movie.
Haunt was a fucking fantastic movie.
Have you seen Haunt,
I
Kim?
don't think so.
Yeah, so the being buried in the ground and wasting space and just like for
And
no
money
reason makes
and
no fucking sense to me. And fucking cemeteries and all that shit, like just I'm at that point where I'm like just gonna go like, please just turn me into a tree. Be one of those fucking things that they turn me into a tree, shoot me into the sun. That would be pretty fucking dope. Shoot my like ashes into the sun, something like just I don't want to take up space, and it just, and if there's that thing also where you go, well, maybe that like, you know, what if there's this weird thing where you kind of like realize you're there for the rest of eternity and you're like just sitting in the box going,
It's in the game.
it's in the game.
I have this conversation all the time because HT's like, I want to be buried. And I'm like, well, I just want you to, I don't know, toss me out back. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm dead. I don't care.
Yeah.
He's like, well, no, don't you want to be buried? And I'm like, I mean, like, if it matters to you, absolutely. Whatever makes you happy and whatever, you know. But like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want.
Also, what if some necrophiliac gets a hold of my body and starts?
I don't care. I'm dead. I don't give a fuck. Donate
using
me
me
to
as-
the fucking body farm. I don't care.
I mean, you
Just
could
as
use-
long as you're buried better than she did the burying job in this. Like, what
Oh
the
my
fuck?
God. What,
Who's
like
that?
A half an inch of dirt
What?
over this girl's face.
And then she put flowers around it to fucking make it look obvious it was a fucking grave.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then he pisses all over the fucking, and then the ears pop.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm gonna piss on him. Yeah, but that guy
I'm
was
so
fun.
high right now. That guy was probably the funniest part of the whole movie, and even though he was an asshole like everyone else, because he was the one like, she's canceled, she was canceled, and it's just like, this is another thing that I fucking hate about the world we're in. Just yelling about canceling people just drives me nuts, man. It just drives me insane. Like, because I don't know, man. It's that weird thing, like, because we live in a society in like America, at least, and Canada's pretty similar to this, where
They were looking for any reason to cancel people.
Yeah.
Like before 2020 happened, it was getting ridiculous.
That was where
And
Me Too. Yeah, Me Too was like really going there, right? And like all that stuff. And that was when that. But like, I don't know, man. Like, it's funny. Like, what happens is if you can make money regardless of you doing shitty things in your past, you don't get technically. I mean, Louis C.K. won Best Comedy Album after. It's like that varying degrees of like how fucked up can you do something, and like I mean, because like Louis C.K. jerked off in front of people, but he didn't touch anyone. So was it really that bad? But he put out a really good comedy album after that, and it's just like. And then I mean it's that thing where like what do you call him the guy from what's his name usual Kevin Spacey, and you're just gonna start hearing the shit that man did, you're like, or supposedly did, you're like
suppose.
I mean
Kevin, what's in the box? What's in the box, Kevin? Oh.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
I just recently watched Oceans 11, 12, and 13. And man, I love those movies.
Ocean's 12, oh God. Ocean's 12 has the dumbest plot element in a film.
Ocean's 12 is my least favorite. I love 13. But 11, I don't know. 11's just like, you know, the classic.
Yeah, that movie's great. We're going to say that Sandra Bullock acting in a movie looks like Sandra Bullock is the dumbest plot element of all. That's like M. Night Shyamalan level of stupid.
No, it wasn't
was
Sandra Bullock.
funny.
That was Julia Roberts.
Or Julia Roberts, whatever. It's the same fucking thing. It's like
Rod.
Hey, this actress
Rod.
looks like this actress.
Rod.
Because it's not
Rod.
No,
It's in the game.
no. I just because it was like their whole fucking scheme was based
It's in
off
the
of
game. It's in
ah.
the game. It's in the
It's in the
game.
game. I'm sorry, that made me angry. That like it's one of those things where you just like I don't know, man. It's,
What is happening? Oh wait, this one.
I don't know.
This guy
man.
that's going crazy. No, this guy's going crazy. This guy.
I always go crazy, Josh. We're 126 episodes in. I'm fucking bonkers. Yes.
It's
yes,
been
it's true.
honestly, it's been a couple weeks. You haven't like gone on a tangent like this in a while.
I mean, you brought up Ocean's 12. Here we are. It's like there's that in Dead Space 3 that does.
So
isn't
what
a Dead
I'm
Space
hearing
game.
is Rod's favorite movie is Ocean's 12.
Shh.
Boom. Everyone, hey, everybody send Rod all the Ocean's 12 stuff. Hey, the person
everything
that does
with
our
Julia
memes that I
Roberts.
absolutely adore, send all the Ocean's 12 stuff.
Just Julia Roberts all
12
fucking day.
oceans. 12 photos of oceans. Send them to Rod. Put them in a little
Julia Roberts 12.
Ocean Man times 12. Julia Roberts. 12 faces of Julia Roberts.
I'm gonna be like
Sandra Bullock in there for grins and giggles.
I'm gonna be driving Zeke and Katie to the airport and start getting Julia Roberts memes, and I'm gonna stop at the airport, fly to Tennessee,
And beat my ass.
and use Weasel as a fucking thing of toilet paper and shit on your doorstep.
She would be excited.
Also, I have to say the ending of this movie is fucking. I think this movie's ending.
I love how it ended it. I fucking
reminds
love
me-
how it ended. If it didn't end that way, I don't think the movie would have
It
been a full package.
Pearl vibes at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
It's
Well,
sinister.
The whole, like the
Yeah.
the lighting in that thing, and like how that girl's eye was like basically useless because of the fucking getting
That
it.
was so
Yeah.
cool.
And then they do they trickery where she thinks that it's her because of the pink hair, because she dyes her hair pink, and you're just like, oh, that ending was like, you don't see that coming. But the only thing about that I didn't like was when the cop shoots the blonde girl in the head.
Yeah, that made
and the
no
bullet,
sense.
The bullet just
yeah.
stops, and you're like, what?
That made
is-
no sense. It was a cool concept.
So basically, the only way something like that would happen, you're using non-hollow points, and you would have to use such an insanely low amount of gunpowder in a bullet to do that, that it would be like, I don't
love
even
how
know-
This is what he gets from it. Not that it's just fucking ridiculous that the cop just comes and shoots out of nowhere and doesn't, no contact. You're dead.
No,
this is
because he walks in, and she's fucking assaulting the one chick with a fucking and beating her. He doesn't know that chick's. I mean, her face looks like a fucking steamroller went over it, but like he doesn't know that chick's not dead or is dead, and so he's just shooting her to do it. And it's that twist where that's what's also fucked up about that like the silly bullet in the head beside you go, oh, now she went from having 200,000 followers to
10 million.
What'd she say? No, 50 million, I think. Didn't she say?
No, it was just
didn't
10, I think.
Whatever. I thought she said 50 million. And she's got a book deal, and she writes this book, and you're just like, this movie.
But
also,
anything like the massacre. Now there's like you got a story that people are like,
Yeah.
oh my god, and it's like it's high intensity and something to attach her as a
Yeah.
hero to, right? So she would go on a huge uptick. 10 million.
And
who knows how long it was after, but
yeah,
she's got a
and
diamond.
you go, well, and now that this woman is this popular, like they could do a sequel if this movie did well enough, or like she loses her shit again. You go, what would happen next time she? It's kind of like,
But no one
Creep,
knows her
right?
as Sissy anymore because everyone is dead that knew her as Sissy. So there's no way.
This is true, but,
But
no,
there were those two redheaded
yeah, I
girls.
was gonna say there's the two redheaded girls who were just like they were like the Shining twins, just sitting there, just like those bitches had evil without saying anything. Those two were creepy as shit. They were just sitting there going, it's just like these two are fucking. They're the Shining twins, fucking evil as shit, man. Also, why was there a spade just like it looked like they were in the playground like of their like middle school, and there's just like a spade sitting there that she just picks up.
It just reminds me of Nerd Forge because she always talks into a spade shovel as her Mike
Uh-huh.
for some reason. I'm
don't
just
know
like,
what
hey, it's
Nerd-
Nerdforge.
I don't
She's
know what
a
Nerdforge is.
YouTuber that like makes little dioramas of like
Ah,
Lord of
okay.
the Rings stuff, and she's awesome.
All you're reminding me of. I saw on Instagram the other day of a girl who bought a Jeep, and she turned her glove compartment into like the entrance of Jurassic Park. And like,
I've seen those. And they are
that's
so
so good.
funny.
yeah,
I love
it is,
it.
dude. You open it, and then I sent it to my friend, and my friend was like, "Where does she keep all her documents?" And it just made
Where
me
does she keep her documents?
your friend is practical when they say that to you. That's the response to that video. But yeah,
Under her seat. Come on, priorities.
Also, now you've reminded me, Josh. They just showed what Sebastian looks like in the live-action Little Mermaid movie, and I that's these Disney live-action movies. I don't have any problems with them casting a black girl. I'm like, cool. But you fucking made Sebastian look like way too much like a real fucking crab. And I know all the bullshit, but like, how is that motherfucker gonna sing Under the Sea? Go look at pictures of what Sebastian looks like in the
No,
fucking
I don't
film.
even want to.
And you go, how is he gonna sing Under the Sea? Under the Sea. Also, that movie better have a penis castle. I want a penis castle somewhere in that fucking movie, somewhere in the background. There better be a castle with a tower that looks like a penis to play homage to the fucking VHS cover, one of the classical, and the little priest who gets a boner at the end of that film. Everyone had boners in that movie. Damn it, Josh. It's in the game.
It's in the
I don't know,
game.
I'm ranting today.
It's in the game.
I don't know.
I love that I have things that can just totally derail Broad like crazy. It used to just be this.
Because it drives me crazy when you do it, Josh, because I'm sitting there, like, especially when Ken is like looking at something else and doesn't realize you're doing it, and I'm just like, God damn it, Josh.
Sometimes I'm looking at other stuff, but I'm aware he's doing it, but I'm looking at other stuff so I don't pay attention to him doing it.
I'm just like, God damn it, Josh. I think he's just trying to stop me from ranting, which I understand, but I mean, I rant like a fucking lunatic. But yeah, I do.
I'll just start doing this. I love how he doesn't say a fucking word either. He lets me sit there in silence.
Because I have learned of years and years and years of podcasting now. It's been like, I've coming up on 6 years. I've been doing some various forms of podcasts, that sometimes silence is okay. Like, I think that's one of the things that people think or are afraid of when they first start podcasting. Nah, man, just let that shit sit sometimes. I'm not very good at not talking for extended periods of time, but yeah. So
Rod is really good at filling in the voids. That's what she said.
It's in the game.
I have a large cock. I mean,
we have a lady on the show now. A lady.
Have you heard?
Have
you heard Ken swear? Ken swears with the best sailors.
Lady.
So here's a fun little story that's like kind of self-absorbed. All right. So I have this deal coming up with this particular group. And one of the things that I have to be mindful of is the amount that I swear. And the other thing I have to be mindful of is the level of shit talking I do, even to NPCs or to chat. So when I very, very politely and kindly, from the bottom of my heart, tell chat to suck my fucking cock, I'm not allowed to do that anymore on this. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, but like, I threaten
For
to
how
beat
long
people's
is it
asses
though?
all the time.
How long?
For as long as I maintain the contract.
No. Ken. Josh was
So it's like an
asking how long-
ongoing like
the
sponsorship
cock
thing?
sucking? Yes.
Yeah. How
No,
long
no.
is your
No,
cock? How long is?
I
How long is
know
your cock?
who you are and how you talk, and this is why we all fucking love you. But I'm asking, like, so this is like an extended thing that is ongoing.
If it happens, it'll be ongoing. So
But
I don't have to be as clean as Twitch front page, but I can't insult people anymore or game characters. And
I
I'm like,
totally understand, because
what am I gonna do?
I'm in marketing, and if it doesn't
Brand
align with
safety,
the,
I get it.
but at the same time, like, if you are a company that is actively willing to put your marketing dollars in this space, why would you try and force people to not be you should have that
not be themselves,
you know,
because you got attracted to their brand by them being them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Gamer Subs is like the one that I just like. They funded those kids or the kids. I feel fucking old. I don't know how old they are, but those guys that I was talking about their YouTube channel, and they just sold their A24 film. They took a year off from YouTube, and this is all they did. And they're like, you know what? Gamer Subs fucking sponsored us and floated us for this fucking year. Without them, we would have not been okay. So this whole video is full on sponsor. So it's like they do like porn stuff with like porn stars and like, you know, they're doing everything. That's why I bring this up. It's like Gamer Subs obviously knows, hey, we're in this space and whatever, like we like what you do. And that's where I don't know. The question is like, how much do you actually have to change, and is it worth it to change?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but yeah, it just made me.
I have one other question that I want to know if either one of you two went to the place I did. I kind of thought she was gonna start doing shibari with her rope.
I did too. When she pulled it out of the bathroom, I was like,
"Is she doing shibari?" I thought she did it to fucking like when she was having that like panic attack, you know, having that like, you know, like over but like that was how she got out of it.
Okay. I was like, wait, what are you guys talking about?
But then she just puts a rope around her, like
sets it on the ground around her.
You're like, I'm like, oh man, I really wanted it to be shibari because I love shibari. That shit is sexy as fuck, and I wish I could learn how to do it. But man,
I love your fucking explanation. I was trying to get into it, but then my ADD kicked in, and I realized I was never gonna fucking do this.
Well, because I bought a book, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like, you know, sit there and learn how to do this knot, and then like I got this. I've said it on here before. I got to step 3, couldn't figure it out, and like that you both know what happens when you try to pick up a new hobby with ADHD, and like you get into a roadblock, and you're trying to put your heart and soul into something, and it just goes.
My girlfriend's done it.
It just checks out
because
it just checks the fuck out,
and showed me the pictures, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's great.
Shibari's
well, she's a model, so she's done a whole bunch of like crazy things.
Yeah.
Had we not met her, I would have pulled the "you wouldn't know her, she's from Canada" card, but
she's not from Canada. She's from Ukraine.
I know.
She's from Alberta. She's from
Alberta.
Vancouver.
You wouldn't know her.
Alberta. You don't know her,
we can't.
guys.
Kids these days, get off my lawn. Kids these days don't get to grow up with that because you can't be like, oh, you wouldn't know her. She lives in Canada. Bitch,
like,
where's her social media? Let me see it. Like,
it's like the kid from Stranger Things, right?
Bitch.
Like my girlfriend, I met her at science camp. And, and then she really exists. But yeah, it's dude. I saw Josh and I was confused. Does Toronto not get a lot of snow? Because I saw Torontoans just plowing into each other, and there wasn't even that much snow. And I'm like, it was like videos of it, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like,
I don't know. We just got like 4 feet of snow last week, so
yeah, but
that's a lot of fucking.
But
snow.
then like mooses are just like running through your front yards like that. There's just like fucking.
What the hell? The amount of weird moose videos. And I love how I'm just like, yeah, just typical day in Calgary. Like,
dude, that last one I sent you where the guy was getting out of his car and it's just that moose looked like fucking Satan and moose. It looked like that moose from The Ritual, the druid god from The Ritual. I love that movie, by the way. I maybe someday we talk about it on here, but that movie is so fucking
you know
good.
what we should talk about someday?
What?
You know.
No.
Not
Psycho
yet. Gorman.
Not ready.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance.
Yes.
Okay,
you knew.
But
I knew you knew. I didn't have to say it.
But I know what I want to talk about next week. We're back to like picking things that I want to watch. Titan, because I want to go into
Titanic?
the Titan, the woman who directed not Titanic. My heart will go on. It's the director of Raw, which Raw is fucking dope. Have you seen?
Oh, I had that in my nose the other day. Whoops.
I mean, can everything that blows in your there is probably in your nose. I know what you do with the little party things up there in your nose when you're doing.
Oh, I have it upside down.
Guys, please follow Continue on Twitch because
Everything.
It's fucking gold.
Fucking
Yes,
everything.
Ever heard. But yeah, I want to talk about Titan from.
Why do you keep
2021,
saying
I think.
Titan so weird?
Titan? It's Spanish, Josh, and it's wonderful. And
Why do you keep saying Titan so weird?
It's in the game.
God damn it, Josh! I'm going someday to hug you, and then as I'm hugging you, I may ball tap you because you've really been really asking for a ball tap for years now with me, and I love you.
Oh.
And then Josh came in his pants. Okay, so next week we're doing Titan. You guys down?
Titan it is.
Sounds good to me.
Titan. And then we'll do
I love
if we
He has to correct me again.
Will you put it in the Discord?
Yes, it's already in there, but I'll re-put it.
It's Titan.
God damn it.
Tighten that ass. Wait, sorry, what?
There's it again. I know that T over at Handle Scare loves this movie. I think they talked about it at some point, but I love Raw, man. Raw is a cool fucking movie if you've never
Raw
seen
was
it.
really good.
Yeah, so I'm excited to watch this. Have you seen Raw, Ken? Very weird cannibal movie, but
Didn't we
actually,
do that
you know
on the show?
No, we did not.
Okay.
You know what that movie actually reminds me of? It reminds me of Ginger Snaps, kind of. It's got that same kind of coming of age kind of thing where it's but instead of werewolves, it's cannibals and whatnot. But yeah, I like that movie a lot. It's cool. So we will do Titan next week. Yes, I've been meaning to watch it. It's about a lady having
love the
sex with a
poster.
car. I think there's sex with a car that's involved with it. I've never
That's what I
watched
heard,
a trailer. Yeah, I've never watched a trailer. Never seen anything, dude. Again,
I like
I'm gonna
the
say
poster.
Yeah, the poster's nuts. Not watching trailers for movies, even when it turns into Skinamarinky Dinky Dink and Outer Waters, is so much better. Because I had no idea what Sissy was about going into it. I had zero clue what Sissy was
I love
about.
that you jumped on that too, because I've been doing it for a long time, and it is so refreshing, to be honest. You can't avoid some of them, and especially in the day and age that we are in, where fucking trailers come out Fast 10, where it's 4 minutes and you're seeing the entire fucking movie.
Dude,
what the fuck is wrong with
that?
this?
That
I don't want to
trailer.
see that.
That trailer it tells the whole story arc where Brie Larson's character they think she's a good guy, and then she's not, and then
But how many
each other up.
action set pieces are in the fucking trailer as
Dude,
well?
yeah,
You're seeing all the main things. It's
They
so
just showed
dumb.
they were every cool scene with Jason Momoa, put it in the trailer. Every cool scene
with his
fucking
arm. And
he's
and our trailer has to say family at least 10 times because it's Fast 10. So
Dude,
they do say family 10 times in that trailer.
I think that movie's gonna be a fucking complete shit show where even Justin Lin couldn't even save the last one, and he said fuck it with this one. And
He
is
no, there was because he dropped out. He didn't want to.
Yeah,
do
that's
it.
what I'm saying. He said fuck this, and
because
ran.
Vin Diesel is
He's
fucked.
an asshole. Yeah, he's an asshole. Yeah, he's an asshole. Okay, next week, Titan. Love you guys.
Titan.
It's so good to have Ken back. We
It's
missed
in
you.
the game.
We got made fun of for being more ADHD than normal without Ken, which is weird because it was just our previous ADHD. But
Hey,
we're the Triforce of ADHD with Ken, and without Ken, they're just 2/3 of the Triforce. So the power of ADHD is not as strong without.
it's a
Ken,
triangle.
so.
Triangle upside down is a puss. Okay. Have
Okay,
you ever
guys.
seen Ready to Rumble? No.
Yeah,
I've never seen Ready to Rumble. All I know about
I
that
almost
movie,
said it myself, but I was just waiting.
all I know about that movie is that it almost got David Arquette killed because of the whole like Nick Cage thing that like we're yep.
I
That's
fucking
all.
love that movie. It's great.
I should watch this someday. So next week, Titan, and I fucking love you too. Ken, welcome back. You're fucking fantastic as usual. Watch Psycho Gorman, murdermoose.com. We have Murder Moose Pod on Twitter. We have
Love you. You're fucking awesome. But
STDhotel.com.
watch fucking.
STDhotel.com.
goddamn movie, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Quintain.com. Only Quintain. Only now.
All those places. Just go
Yeah,
to
go
continue.com.
Queen
You're
Tate.
good. Queen Tate.
Josh WRB.
That's the newest one.
Josh WRB on YouTube. Josh is going back to the YouTube, and he's gonna be swinging his big dick around and being the man that he is. Go all that. I'm Roger_Johnston on Twitch and Twitter and all those places. So find me there. I fucking love you guys. So we will catch you guys next week for Titan.
Bye.
See ya.
Titan.
Titan.